Bret Hart's Sharpshooter. She's kind of got that background being Jim Amble's kid, and she's busting out the Sharpshooter every now and then as her finishing move. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. It's cool to see a diva put on a Sharpshooter.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I saw the other day they voted her finishing move the best, right? And
yeah.
You tweeted that you weren't happy with that.
It's just because she was up against some other, CM Punk was up there.
Yeah.
I think Daniel Bryan was up there.
Yeah.
And the other person was up there too. I don't remember, but not only did she win, but she won by a landslide of votes. And so that's just really why maybe it's because she's on Total Divas, but I really think that was definitely fixed because not only were the other people putting on the moves so much better, but I just think that, she does the Sharpshooter, but if you ever watch her doing the Sharpshooter, it doesn't look like she's putting as much, pull into it.
As Bret Hart did.
Yeah, and I even think, I heard about how, Sting does the Sharpshooter, his version, but he's just old where he can't get his knees to bend that much, and that's what she reminds me of. It doesn't really look like the other person's, hurting because of it.
Yeah, she doesn't have arthritis like Sting probably does.
Yeah.
And, don't get me wrong, I like Natty's Sharpshooter, but I don't think it should have beat out CM Punk or Daniel Bryan or any of their moves. Let's be real here. It's not perfect, but, it's not bad for a diva.
Yeah.
And speaking of Daniel Bryan, he pays homage to a lot of wrestlers, too. Mainly Chris Benoit / the Dynamite Kid with his diving headbutt. And then you got Chris Benoit again when he puts on the crossface. Definitely, you could tell his style that he was definitely with, following and studying Chris Benoit, Dynamite Kid, and some of those other strong type wrestlers and, more technical based wrestlers. And I really like how, even though Chris Benoit is kind of being pushed to the side by WWE for obvious reasons, and I don't necessarily disagree with them, but it's kind of cool that he, keeps that memory of Chris Benoit as a wrestler in the ring and, brings that back. I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one that I have on my list is CM Punk doing the Macho Man elbow drop. Every time you get the Macho Man chant going, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, I think CM Punk is not only is he cool with that, but how he did the Macho Man colors for the stars, and he does it for a lot of things, which is really, I really like that he does that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he did it for Bret Hart too.
Yeah, and I think he did it too. He had his Yankee pinstripes.
Yeah, in Boston, I think that was too. Awesome. Yeah, way to piss off a Boston fan is wearing Yankee, and he was facing Cena too.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's CM Punk for you. And then, actually, with CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, they're starting to do the Heart Attack tag team move when they're teaming up, where CM Punk holds up the guy they're facing, Daniel Bryan runs off the rope, hits him with the clothesline there, so that's really cool that they're, busting out some tag moves.
Yeah, well, speaking of tag team, I know we wanted to talk about how tag team heavy we are in the WWE.
We are. WWE is so tag team heavy right now.
Every match, tag team match, handicap tag, it's getting a little much. But the thing was, I think there used to be not so much tag team stuff going on.
See, here's WWE's problem. People were complaining and complaining and complaining they wanted tag team wrestling.
And I think really too is they just wanted maybe the tag team titles to mean something too.
I think that's what it was, and they wanted actual tag teams with, as silly as this is going to sound, matching outfits. That's a key for tag teams.
They were now, even now, it's just they're throwing two single guys together, and I mean, it's a tag team obviously, but it's just not the Dudley Boys, they were a tag team. Yeah. The Legion of Doom, they were a tag team. Not just, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan are just... They're
two single wrestlers.
And we're just waiting for them to break out again and do their own thing,
Yeah. And I think they're going to start going more focused with the tag teams. You got, the Rhodes brothers, I'm cool with them.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing cool stuff. But again, they're singles guys, and they're gonna split eventually. But you got the Usos, which they're cool.
I can't really see the Usos being I think they're a tag team.
Yeah, they're gonna be stuck as a tag team, and I'm cool with that. I think they're great as a tag team. You got some other tag teams going on, the Los Matadores, which I hope they go away soon.
Yeah, that's one thing I like. Having like gimmicks. What is with WWE and having like jokey I understand it's the PG, but it's like, come on, we're not dumb,
Yeah.
And why is there so many wrestlers dancing now? Like I was getting excited for Xavier Woods and on Raw, he's just dancing.
Yeah.
Come on.
I saw somebody else complain about that as well. They said, they can't get behind him because he's just smiling, dancing, and being like R-Truth, and nobody likes R-Truth. So
I didn't read spoilers for SmackDown. I just read like the previews in that it's gonna be Xavier Woods and R-Truth versus Bruce Clay and Tensai. So
that was a real reaction too. That was the first time I heard that.
I mean, maybe Bruce Clay is pissed that Xavier Woods was dancing to his music. So
yeah, if it comes out that way and they turn Tons of Funk heel and make them monsters, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, but the whole idea of this guy's getting mad because he was dancing to his music in a wrestling ring.
Oh my god, this is ridiculous.
And I even like the Los Matadores, like I just can't take it seriously.
I don't know. I mean, they do the comedy stuff, which is fine, but there's too much of it. I mean, at one point you had Los Matadores in a match, and then the next match I think was the Great Khali, Hornswoggle Natty, and all those guys, and then you had Tons of Funk maybe. And you had like all these different comedy gimmicks and Santino.
Let's not forget 3MB.
Yeah, 3MB. I think they were one of them too. So you had like all this, and it was right in a row. And I'm thinking to myself, why am I watching this? Like, it's just we're so like invested though.
Mm-hmm.
They could throw whatever they want at us.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch, but we're gonna voice our opinions obviously, and it's good to be funny, but I mean. Austin was funny, and he was an ass, and he was mean, and he was, he was awesome, but the Rock brought comedy into it, but, it wasn't like awkward comedy where you're just like, get me out of here.
Yeah, and I think there's just, people always say there's a few guys backstage that they're trying to make laugh, and unfortunately that means the rest of us have to suffer. But, I think, does that about wrap it up for this time?
Yeah, This is a good one, but I mean, we covered everything we want to cover. I think the only other things we could even talk about is anything else that happened on Raw. I mean, it ended with the match between Del Rio and Orton against Cena and Big Show, and Cena and Big Show won, but WWE announced that Big Show was out with a concussion, so he's going to be gone for a while. Seems like he just came back.
Yeah, I was going to say, he came back, he was broke.
Yeah, and I think the only other two things I wanted to bring up was how Big E just won the Intercontinental title and he's been put in like a tag team match. You think like hopefully it doesn't continue, like should he be more focused, they should be focused on him being in singles match and not just throwing another tag team match together?
Yeah, I think what's happening there is they have a lot of talent that they need to use and they're just kind of throwing them all together in tag team matches. I'm fine with Big E being in a tag match on Raw last week, but I don't want to see it as a continued pattern with him being the champ. I think he needs to get some singles wins. He needs to have some dominant singles matches. Throw him against a member of 3MB. Have him, wipe the floor with them. Make him a strong-looking champ, so that way, the next time somebody legitimate challenges him for the title, you might think that he's going to lose. That's just my thinking, and you need to establish the Intercontinental title a little more.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine that he doesn't have to defend the title on Raw, like save it for a pay-per-view, but I think that's why, like, no one cared about Curtis Axel when he had the belt. He had the belt for a long time, since June, but I don't think he ever really fought.
No, he faced CM Punk. He was kind of Paul Heyman's henchman, and that's what I mean, like, you need to build up that title again so it's prestigious and it actually means something.
Yeah, and then like the only other thing I want to talk to you about is rematches. Like, do you think they should do this where, okay, this guy lost on the pay-per-view, so he automatically gets a rematch, like, and then where they have this. I think they would say I think they did Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose on a pay-per-view, and then on Raw the next day they had the same exact match. Like, they do that a lot where they have matches that were supposed to be the big match on the pay-per-view, but then the next day they have it anyway. So why did we pay to go see it, or why do you pay to watch it on TV when you're just gonna see it on Raw the next day?
I had this same conversation at work today. You have, like you said, these matches that are supposed to be these big main matches, and then they're given away for free the next night, or given away even better for free the next night. Like, look, we went to Survivor Series and we saw the Wyatts against CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, which is awesome, great match. But everybody wanted Bray Wyatt involved. So my thinking was, okay, they'll do this match, something will happen, and then they'll have another match at TLC with Bray Wyatt involved. I think we actually talked about that on the way up. So then we see at the end, Bray Wyatt kind of gets involved. He pulls back, so I'm thinking, okay, cool, they're going to have this match at the pay-per-view next month. Nope, on Raw the next night. Yeah. Bray Wyatt's involved in the match.
And I mean, not that they were any of the bigger matches, but they had the Divas match again.
Yeah, the same exact match.
And did Kofi and Miz fight again? No, they didn't fight again on Monday. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, they do that a lot though, and like you said, you're paying for a 3-hour pay-per-view, which doesn't end up being 3 hours most of the time. You usually get about 2.5 to 2:45, but then you watch a free Raw, and that takes up 3 hours and 15 minutes sometimes. So you're getting more by not paying at all. It doesn't make any sense. They really need to bring the value back to pay-per-views.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna watch it no matter what, but that's just how we feel.
Yeah. So, thanks for checking out this podcast. I think that about concludes this one. Definitely shoot us over some questions so we can read them on the air for next time. Give us some stuff to talk about. Give us some stuff to answer. And, hopefully you enjoyed this one.
All right. See you next time.
See ya.